Okay, let's do this. Now, for those who are unaware, there is a section of Oculus in the Quest called Oculus TV. And there are thousands of videos. Now, some of them are 180, some of them are 360. Some of them are great, some of them are terrible. You just kind of have to explore. Some of them are nicely educational, so we're going to have a little look today at this short educational documentary.
Plants. They are the very basis of all life on Earth. If you speed up time, plants begin to reveal their true nature.
Dun dun dun. Ooh.
Plants stretch and pulse as they strive to barge their way into pole position. They're every bit as aggressive as animals. These are among the most mysterious sundews. Each tentacle is tipped with a glistening droplet. It may look like nectar, and indeed many insects seem especially attracted to it. But it's not. It's a glue. It not only holds the insect fast, but clogs up the tiny holes on its flanks so that it can't breathe.
That's a bit freaky.
Time-lapse cameras reveal that the sundew begins to fold its whole leaf around its prey. There will be no escape from this lethal embrace. Other carnivorous plants don't require special photography to show how fast they can be. The Venus flytrap. At the top, the leaves are baited with a sweet nectar. But lower down, there are a few upright bristles. Triggers. Many things might accidentally touch one of them, so a single touch has no effect. But a fly crawling around on the leaf sipping the nectar is likely to touch more than one of the bristles. And if it touches two within 20 seconds, that's different.
It's like a horror film.
The victim's desperate attempts to find a way out simply trigger more hairs and encourage the trap to close even more tightly. The plant begins to release juices rich in hydrochloric acid.
It's a horror movie.
It will take 10 days to completely digest its meal.
It's a horror movie. So that's Kingdom of Plants. Something short. The Micro Monsters is great as well. Don't fancy breakdancing, bobsleighing. Let's have a quick look, see if there's anything else here. Don't fancy being scared. Don't fancy a roller coaster. Huh. Ooh, I haven't seen that one.
I'm on a fantastic journey to look at the origins of life. It will be a journey full of wonders. Using the latest technology, it's possible to bring to life the very first living creatures that appeared on the planet. For the first time in 500 million years. Humans first appeared around 2 million years ago. The dinosaurs were wiped out 66 million years ago. The first complex multicellular organisms arrived around 550 million years ago. But for the first 3.5 billion years after the formation of the Earth, all that existed here were microscopic single-cell organisms. The planet was very different from the one we know today. The early continents had only just solidified. The land was volcanic, dry and lifeless. But deep in the oceans, life was beginning. Here, there were single-cell organisms. For millions of years, conditions remained unchanged, but slowly oxygen levels in the Earth's oceans began to rise, and that had a profound effect on the development of life. Cells began to stick together, forming clumps, some of which would eventually evolve into the complex animals we know today. These clumps of cells were held together by strands of a new protein, collagen. It's sometimes called the sticky tape of the animal world. It's the most common protein in our bodies. Collagen enables cells to stick together. The advantages of being multicelled were many. Clumps of cells could collect food more effectively. They could control the internal workings of their bodies, and by working in a coordinated way, be more efficient. It was the beginning of complex life. Millions of years later, life had evolved far beyond its infancy as simple clumps of cells into considerably more complex forms. Charnia was a member of a community of creatures that lived at the bottom of the ocean 550 million years ago. This strange leaf-shaped organism is the oldest large multicellular creature we know of. Anchored to the sea floor, well out of the reach of light, they grew up to 6 feet, 2 meters tall. Having such a simple body plan came at a heavy price. Just a few million years after they first evolved, they vanished. An evolutionary dead end. Just as Charnia was dying out, new creatures appeared that were constructed in a completely different and more complex way. And they were able to take a new and crucial step. They began to move. first animal movements were undoubtedly slow, perhaps even too slow to notice. Dickinsonia crept about, feeding on the organic matter on the seafloor beneath it. Perhaps it moved with the help of hundreds of tiny tubular feet, as starfish do today. Kimberella was an early ancestor of the mollusks. It probably had a single muscular foot, just as snails and slugs have, with which it pulled itself along the sea bottom. Sprigina was the first animal we know of with a head at one end and a tail at the other, and between a body with two identical halves, were it to be split down the middle. But once animals developed mouths and the ability to move, evolution took off. Just a few million years later, an evolutionary blink of the eye, these animals began to evolve so rapidly that life seemed to have exploded into a multitude of new forms. Animals increased in numbers, diversity and size as never before. Suddenly, the oceans were teeming with life. Pikaia was a tiny worm-like animal, but he'd had something new. The beginnings of a backbone. It, or something very like it, was the ancestor of all vertebrates. And here is Opabinia, an animal so bizarre it looked like an unusually bold evolutionary experiment. The flaps along its side enabled it to propel itself forward. It had 5 eyes to search for food and a strange trunk with which to collect it. Euaxia, once thought to be an ancestor of earthworms, is now believed to have been an early snail with a spiked protective shell. Hallucigenia was even stranger. Its spikes were probably defensive, for now there were predators around.
Bloody hell.
Anomalocaris may have been an ambush hunter waiting in concealment to grab unsuspecting prey.
I hope he doesn't grab me. This is quite freaky. Ah.
It could grow to over a meter, several feet in length. It was, as far as we know, the first big predator on Earth.
Don't want to get any closer. That wasn't freaky at all.
Creatures now needed to be able to defend themselves. Ammonites, relatives of today's squid and octopi, evolved shells. Other creatures evolved hard, jointed plates that encased their entire bodies, an exoskeleton. This innovation led to some of the most successful creatures in the history of life, the arthropods. These are called trilobites. Their exoskeletons made them very successful, and they colonized all kinds of different habitats, just as modern arthropods do today. So far, we have discovered about 17,500 different trilobite species, and they came in a whole variety of different shapes and sizes. Trilobites were, without question, the most successful animals of their time. Today, the trilobites are extinct, but in their heyday, the continued evolution of their exoskeleton enabled their arthropod cousins to dominate the oceans. Then, 450 million years ago, some arthropods appeared that were truly giants. sea scorpions were the top predators. They were the biggest arthropod that has ever existed. And they could grow up to 2.5 meters, 8 feet in length. The fundamental features of modern animals were being established, and the arthropods were the great pioneers. In the oceans, life had begun. But the land remained barren and without animals of any kind. But there was food there, simple plants, and that tempted some animals to venture out of the water. Life wouldn't colonize the land for another 100 million years.
Wow, that was full 360 streaming from Oculus TV. Wow, I actually felt like I was there way back then. Okay, jump out. Wow. Wow, and that's in Oculus TV. Incredible, absolutely incredible. It's the Kingdom of Plants and First Life. And if you haven't seen it as well, there's micro insects. Can't remember what it's called. Micro machines, something like that. Which is also available. Narrated by Attenborough. Fantastic. Wow. I don't need to look for anything else. That was great. Wherever you are, whatever you're doing,